Welcome back, job seekers. If you followed my instructions from the first video, you should have your birth chart right in front of you. And if not, don't worry about it. We're about to go to Astrolab or astrolabe.com, where you can download a free birth chart to your computer. Now, your birth chart reveals a lot about your personality, your talents, your skills, your inclinations, and so on. And you'll be able to see how much once you study your own chart. Now, you already share certain personality traits with other men and women who were born under the same sun sign as you. And for those of you who are not students of astrology, your sun sign, that is the position of where the sun was when you were born, it represents your identity, your basic ego structure. And all you really need in order to know what your sun sign is your birth month and day. As I said previously, some of you will agree with the general descriptions of your personality as expressed in the chart you're going to download. There are people who swear that the information in their birth chart is true up to 100%. Now, others will agree with some of the personality traits, and still there are a small percentage of people who feel that they are quite different from their sun sign, and this can be due to many factors. For instance, a person's rising sign or their ascendant can be a much more dominant component of their personality. We won't spend a lot of time on my chart, and things will go by pretty quickly, so I'll just point out a couple of things ahead of time. You'll see that my sun sign is Pisces, but my rising sign or my ascendant is in another water sign. It's in Cancer. Now, Cancer is all about emotion, security, home, family, nurturing, and intuition. And Pisces is all about caring, creativity, being compassionate, a true people person, a dreamer, people who have a high sensitivity to other people and their surroundings. Now, when it comes to work, Pisces have a hard time saying no and standing up for themselves. So if you're a Pisces out there, you already know this. We have a tendency to take on much more than we can chew because we don't want to disappoint anybody. With that being said, you've got to know your weaknesses and the energy of the planets and be able to work with them. When it comes to astrology, it's all about timing, the energy of the planets, their aspects, houses, and knowing yourself. So from here on out, I want you to think of the planets in your chart as being alive because they are. They're alive with their own personality. For example, Mars is fiery, active. He's full of drive and energy, always gung-ho. Now, Saturn, on the other hand, is a cautious kind of fellow. He's practical. He looks before he leaps. He's all about restriction, learning life lessons, and being responsible. Now, what do you think will happen when these two square off or oppose each other? Let's say you're going after a specific job or targeting a specific employer, and it's just frustrating you to no end because you can't get an interview. Or let's take that a step further. Even if you do get the interview, it doesn't work out in your favor. And it seems like there's just some obstacles standing in your way. Now, you might be tempted to give up, and it's possible to go through a period of depression. In your mind, think about it. You don't know what went wrong, but you feel like there's a lid on things. With that Mars energy, you were so gung-ho, so upbeat, so positive about that particular job or company, and you just knew that you were qualified for the job. But wait a minute. Saturn steps in. Saturn's going to ask you, did you research that company? What was their turnover rate? How long have they been in business? You know, that factory is about 20 miles away, and they were only offering you $11 an hour. What's the price of gas? $4, $4.50 a gallon? Do you get the picture? So get familiar with your birth chart. I had to spend this time laying the groundwork because it's not possible for me to go over everything in my chart. I'm just going to do a quick overview, and the same with when we come to career assessments. Just remember this. At some point, you're going to want a personalized reading to take you further. But for now, let's work with what we have. Now let's get started with your birth chart. From inside my home page, just click on the link that says free birth chart. It'll bring you here. You want to enter your name. You're going to enter the month, the year, the day of your birth. If you know the exact time, put the exact time in there. If you don't, you can use 12 p.m. like they suggest. Make sure you put the city and state and the country. And once you submit this, this will create your chart for you. Here's my birth chart. Now remember that this is only a mini reading. And the reason why is this. This stuff in the middle here, right there, planets in retrograde, planets sextiling each other, planets in opposition, those are things that an astrologer would actually talk to you about when you get a reading. So I want you to make sure you keep that on the back burner because that sooner or later you're going to need one. So this gives me just a general overview of my personality as it has to do with my chart. Now we're going to leave this site and go into another one. We're going to Indiana Career Explorer. This is the state of Indiana's career research portal. And people can come here and create an account and take career assessments. They have 3 actually. One of the assessments will take a look at what you value most about working, and the work environment. Another assessment will take a look at what your current skills are. And then another one will take a look at what are your career interests. It will take all 3 of these components, group them together, and create a cluster of jobs or careers which may be a good fit for you. When I took it, my career interest at the top was audiovisual, anything that had to do with the arts and communications, and that's what Pisces is about. I majored in art. I'm also a musician. On the right side, as you'll see, my skills assessment is 90. I rated a 90 in human services. Well, that's what I do. I've been in social work and human services for nearly 25 years. And so it's not a fluke. And this is pretty consistent with my chart. Another thing that is consistent with my chart and Pisceans altogether is this right here. Pisces really like to work alone. And when it came to work values, you see I have an 89. I value independence over income. Not by much, but independence is more important to me than actually money. I like working without people standing over my shoulder. Well, that's it for now. Before I go, I want to leave you with this little story. There once was a soldier in boot camp, and people got really concerned about this guy because they spotted him picking up sheets of paper and then throwing them back down. He'd pick up a piece of paper off the ground, he'd look at it, he said, "That's not it." He'd pick up another one, "That's not it." And he kept doing this. And so finally they reported him to the Army psychiatrist. So he comes into the psychiatrist's office and immediately start lifting up pieces of paper off the guy's desk. "That's not it. That's not it." And so finally the psychiatrist was making no headway with the guy. So he wrote him a medical discharge. And when the guy got the piece of paper in his hand, he said, "That's it. That's it. That's it." Well, one day you're going to say, "That's it," especially when you get into a job within your element. I'm Ellie Coleman with tipsforjobseekers.com, and I'll see you around next time.